All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Okay, yeah.
Here we are at that conference.
That conference. This
Day
is
2.
super exciting.
You and I met virtually on Twitter because Pieces has been trying to, get out there, and I'm kind of been on the forefront of that. And you were just recommended to me all over the place about that.
I am notorious online. I've built a pretty big community through Twitter and social media, and I'm pretty close friends with Ellie too, who you know.
Oh, we love Ellie, one of our brand new dev advocates, and she's
Yeah.
killing it.
Yeah, she's phenomenal, and I trust her judgment. So obviously, when she started having communication with you guys, I started looking at the product, and I support good products and good people, so that aligned with what I like.
Yeah, that's how we felt. I mean, that's how I felt about Ellie. I the first thing I told her was like, you are just so authentic.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to bring, because we, especially with a developer tool, you don't sell developer tools.
No.
You try to help people solve problems, and you also have to connect with them and say, listen, like, you've heard about us 15 times, and here's the 16th time, and let me kind of really prove to you that it's worth your time, it's worth your money.
Well, that's interesting. If you're trying to solve problems, then let me ask you a question. As a front-end developer that really focuses on, like Next.js and React apps and stuff like that, what can Pieces do for me?
Well, Pieces is really trying to be an overarching workflow co-pilot. So you have a million things going on. I'm guessing, and I'm probably going to be right here, is that you've got a million things on your screen at all times, right? You probably, as your workflow, in multiple different places, researching in the browser, collaborating with people in your whatever tool, chat tool you use, and then hopefully getting some code done in your IDE. And along the way, there's all this information and there's all this context, and you are going to lose a lot of it. We're just human, right? We can't remember all of that. So what Pieces is trying to do is to gather all the important information along the way and surface it to you when necessary.
Yeah, I love that. As far as options, I'm very surface level experience with the product at this point. Obviously, you know that. What would you find most beneficial that I can access it from? I think there's the VS Code extension. But I guess what other ways can I use the product?
So I think the VS Code extension is the best place to start for so many people, because you're already in there all the time, and it kind of teaches you how to use it. If you have the extension on and you highlight a piece of code and just say ask Pieces Copilot, and it'll open up the Copilot with whatever question you want to ask it, and then you just start having this very natural conversation. And then you kind of learn that, okay, if I highlight a piece of code and ask Pieces to fix it, or Pieces to explain it, or Pieces to comment it, you kind of get in the habit of using Pieces as an actual Copilot.
Ooh, I like that.
And then you can move on to what maybe is a little bit. We tend to have 2 users, and sometimes they overlap. And there's a snippet savers, and then there's the Copilot users. And the Copilot has recently gotten supercharged with, the workstream pattern engine, which we can talk about. But the snippet savers are the people who are reusing a lot of code, and they're researching in all different places, and they see a piece of code, and they're like, I want to save that. Or even if they're in their IDE, and they're like, I wrote a nice piece of code, I need to save that. And then in your VS Code, you have this list of snippets, and you can just insert it whenever.
I like that. Optimizing workflows for people that have just repetitive things like that is huge.
Exactly. And so if you have this combination of all the previous work that you've done that you've saved and might reuse again, and then you have this buddy on the side, you can ask any question. Like if you have blank page syndrome, you don't know where to get started, or you want to ask it about a specific piece of code, it's just there to help you with whatever question you might have.
That's awesome. And then there is also the desktop app, correct? And obviously the same functionality as you would have. So what would be the benefit to using that over the extension?
Honestly, a better view. The problem with the IDE in my eyes sometimes is that, so you've got your snippets on the left, you got your code on the right, you got your command line on the bottom, and you've got the Copilot on the right. At least that's my setup. And then you're just all crammed in one spot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I hear a lot of people say that they don't mind, command tab, like flipping between things, because it gives them the real estate that they're looking for, or they have it on 2 different screens, and that kind of helps.
Just how I use it.
Yeah, for sure. And also the desktop app has a little bit of extra functionality. It's got some the big global search for your snippets. It's got some different views on your context that you've been gathering, your workflow activity. It will track some of that stuff. So it's got a little extra functionality.
Interesting. Does this have any sort of access to anything that's local, or is this just running online?
Actually, it's entirely on device, almost entirely. So all your code snippets, all your Copilot chats, it's all saved on your device completely. Because then that's kind of our model is everything on device first, and everything that classifies your code snippets is all on device machine learning models. And we do integrate with a bunch of cloud LLMs for the Copilot. You can you can change it, but you can also use a non-device model. So you can use pieces on an airplane.
Really?
With no Wi-Fi.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't ever want to do that, but it's
Are you the like airplane is like quiet time kind of person? Me too. I try not to work on planes as well.
I can't open a computer on a plane.
Well, so because you're like this too, like on the planes these days.
Yeah, I was on a very small puddle jumper here on the way here, and I was next to somebody that's taller than me, and I'm pretty tall. Just full man spread, with one leg in the aisle, the other one on my leg. So I'm like,
he's like, this is real intimate.
Crowded into the corner. My wife and my son are on the other side of the aisle, just living it up. With all this, like, on a yacht by themselves, basically. So I can't even think about opening a computer in a situation like that. Okay.
I just like to sleep on planes. Yeah. I'm a sleeper.
Yeah. Which I guess if I use pieces, it would make my work easier and I'd have more time to sleep. Maybe
That's what I'm saying. You know, I did have, the one I pull out all the time is I was working with a pilot client, and their developer team started using pieces, and they reduced their new feature development time from 3 weeks to 1 week.
Wow.
Which I just was like, come on, that's amazing.
That's huge.
Yeah. So just learning how to leverage a Copilot and reusable code snippets just really has a lot of benefit. And they weren't even using live context.
I guess as a new user and a relatively new developer, like, what would be a really good use case to sell me on using it?
We keep talking about this remember anything, interact with everything model, but I guess the most common use case I see is help me with this error. I can't figure this error out. So there's a couple ways you can approach it. If you have the live context on, you don't have to like copy paste anything in. It just is there, and you ask the Copilot, what about this error? And then it should give you an answer.
That's huge.
And then the other one that I'm hearing a lot is you get up and you walk away, and you come back and you're like, what was I doing?
Oh, yeah.
Remind me, and it'll give you a whole list of what you're working on.
Nice. Well, when I get it working, I definitely want to.
I know. I don't know what's going on with your system, my setup.
I might just do a reinstall when I get back.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of our biggest problems is the fact that it is on device, and so on device is that there's a million devices out there, and like
is different.
And I get a million support tickets that are like, it's not working.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. What's not working? And they're like, it's not working. And I'm like, oh no.
Just it.
Send me a screenshot.
Yeah.
Screenshot, a video, anything. But
well, I will say one thing. I mean, from what I've seen of the product, very easy to use. It's great. But working with the team, or just like, you know, again, the support for the product has been amazing.
Oh, good.
Wow.
We can't do anything but that, right? Like, we are our users. And I hope, like, as long as I am in a position of, like, you know, managing things like that in this company, it will always be that way, because it is so important to have your community of users be happy, because at the end of the day, you can't have a good product if you don't have users using the good product, and you can't sell anything if nobody wants to buy it. And I don't know, this word of mouth growth, this product-led growth has been so fascinating to me, and I just want to get us to a point where people are just advocating for pieces because they love it, and they love it because it's a good product and it's well supported.
There you go. Yeah.
And it's solving problems for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, hopefully it solves my problem. When we figure out what the problem is,
we'll get it done. We're going to get it done.